Hello, it is June 25th, 2024. I'm Glenda Carlin. Welcome to my weekly A Course in Miracles and Dzogchen, Dzogchen, Buddhism. The hardest thing is how to say that word, Dzogchen, and it's the highest teaching within the Buddhist faith. And I combine the two. And I welcome invite in Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, ascended masters. Be here now with us. They're always here. But until you invite them in, they're not going to intrude. I ask them, help me, guide me what to do or say. I'd already done that prior to this recording. But anyway, but also each person here, help them have whatever insights will be of benefit to them. Welcome, God Terry. Welcome, God Barbie. Welcome, God Joan. Welcome, God Angela. Welcome, God Gonzalo. Welcome, God Edward. Welcome, God Susan. Welcome, God Debbie. Welcome, God Corrine. Welcome, God Glenda. Thank you all for being here. There is a synergy. There's a beautiful light energy that comes by belonging here to this group. Granted, later when you watch it via video, you receive whatever you receive. But I thank you so much for taking the time to come out in this live meeting, this live Zoom meeting. It matters to not just yourself, but the whole group, Thank you. Now tonight's teaching always comes about based on what's happening in my life. And the name of this teaching is using the ancient, it's called HamSa, H-A-M-S-A, or it can be HumSo, H-U-M-S-O, meditation to unite with our divine source on the in-breath, and then on the out-breath to let go of duality. Now, why this came about was I was reading in this book called Letting Go of the Person You Used to Be by that Lama Surya Das. And when I read in there and something really strikes me like that type meditation, I then went to the Course and searched in the Course where Jesus talks about breath, because tonight I'm talking about the in-breath and the out-breath, where we breathe with the nostrils only, the mouth closed. And I found places in the Course that I didn't know Jesus was talking about breath work. Same thing I've talked to you before about meditation, about singing and chanting. And now I'm going to talk to you about breath work. And I have to tell you, when I was a diehard A Course in Miracles student, you just let somebody try to talk to me about breath work. I would have told them, hold it, where's that in the Course? Well, it's nuances, and wherever your perception is and wherever you're at that time, and everything's perfect just like it is, but I'm here presenting other angles, hoping that you might research and check into this and see how taking an in-breath and then an out-breath, saying this syllable, hum, H-U-M, on the in-breath, and then S-A or S-O, so, on the out-breath, what that does, and I had no idea till I practiced it, and I've only been practicing this really hard the last 10 days or so. Prior to that, I've read it in this book, and once in a while I might do that hum and so, but I hadn't really practiced it, so I hadn't got any benefit from it, really. I hadn't been able to experience this. But what I realize is this is a way to connect us to divine God energy and light. I'm not kidding, to the great ray. And I didn't know it. And then the so or the out breath, it does several things, but one of them is that it cleanses and purifies karma without you even knowing what it's cleansing and purifying. And that's duality. It is just because it's sweeping, it's cleaning and clearing. But I didn't know, I've contemplated in the last month or two how to talk to you all about opening up the great ray. And then I would just let it go because nothing really came to me other than that one meditation that's in the course about where you concentrate on an arc of light and see the arc of light expand to fill a circle, then see the edges of the circle disappear to infinity. That's kind of like space mingling in Dzogchen meditation. But this is a mantra that can be said on in breath and out breath. And if you count a 24-hour period, that's 21,600 of this mantra being repeated. And what it does, it goes into your unconscious mind and it's working. And even without you being aware that it's there, as I understand this and what comes to me in my meditation is it is silently, Holy Spirit, these are seed souls that are silently being said in our unconscious mind and we don't know they're being done. Holy Spirit's always working there trying to help us. And why it accesses your great ray is on the in-breath of the in-breath. And in my email, I word processed this section in this book, word for word, because Lama Surya really explains it, that he was given this mantra early on in his going to for wherever he went, to India or wherever he was. It was an early mantra. And that master told him to say it 108 times, do it 108 times first thing in the morning. Now, what it does is when you're taking the in breath, you visualize that you're looking at this light there's great ray or cord of light that's above your head, and you're going there, accessing that light. And you bring on the in-breath, like an in-breath is, then you're pulling it. You're pulling that light in, and it works. I'm not kidding you. If you want to speed up, I'm always trying to help you speed up years on this, on your awakening. Just sit with that and practice this. But you're pulling that light that's from the top of your head, just in that in-breath. And then on the out breath up, no, mouth closed, you kind of relax and the out breath is going out. That light, there's a couple things you can do. The light, picture when the light comes in, it really comes in the top of the head. It's coming down this vertical center, your crown chakra, your throat chakra, your heart chakra, and it goes all the way down to the Kundalini. All this happens so fast, but when these chakras aren't open, you don't really feel it. The light's trying to move. It's always trying to move and trying to open you up. Then it circles and it comes back up, this subtle energy field, this center, back up, and into your crown. So it becomes, when you sit with this and practice, you find it's a circle, and it's really the circle of life, the circle of the breath even. But what happens is you think and picture if we weren't breathing the breath of life, this form would be dead. But how did this breath get in this body? That's when the Son of God, for me, the Son of God, injected his light, animated the form with the light and the energy. And with that synonymous thing, beats me how it all worked. But the breath happened. And so what I'm wanting to share with you is the light and the breath move at the same time. And I never knew that, folks. I even wondered if they were separate, but they're not separate. So they move together. And you're synchronizing this. You're becoming, it's called awake and aware of what's going on. And how you can come to the nowness awareness is come back to the breath. Then on that in-breath, realize just in your quiet, you're realizing you're taking in, you're looking at that light, that great ray. You're bringing in light in with that breath, and that light's coming down with that breath through your form. It circles and comes back up. Now, you won't do all this all at once. This is going to happen over time. But ultimately, that's the deal. But what the thing is, when this was all in the Garden of Eden and we remembered we were God animating this form, this was this continuous process, continuous. As the breath came in, any thoughts or anything we had got instantly purified. It was holy, all holy. So it was instantly karma, or no thought of duality was really there, but any thoughts or whatever, they're just instantly cleaned, instantly just burned up, just the light just, and it was whole, pure, and complete. We didn't think about duality, two-ness, or any of this, but it's a complete cycle that Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, and the enlightened beings are wanting you to feel whole and complete again. Remember part of the forgiveness saying that I wrote in my forgiveness document, Holy Spirit had me write is, you're whole, pure, and innocent, all is forgiven and released. Whole, W-H-O-L-E, means whole. There's nothing lacking. Pure is this innocence, this pure light. So what happens is you can then think of it, visualize that, this light, when it comes in and it's going through your chakras and going through, it's burning up karma. You're letting go of the person you used to be. And you don't have to know what the thoughts and feelings are. You're just believing that. And because it is happening. I have to just tell you, this was really kind of blew my mind, because this was a quick way to access the great ray. And I'm kind of embarrassed I hadn't thought of it before. It's the great ray, the court of light's always here, animating the form, but it's clogged up with thoughts, veiled by thoughts and feelings of duality. But we can use this breath work to help purify and remove, let go. You're remember, it's letting go of the person you used to be. So on that out breath, I'm letting go of duality. I'm letting go of thinking I'm a self. And this mantra, this type meditation, I have to say, because I had to look this up, this, in this book, Lama Surya talks about, because he gives a history, is before Hinduism and before Buddhism was Vedic, V-E-D-I-C. I'm not real sure what that means, but it's a holy scripture. There were masters, and that's over 5,000 years ago. Before Hinduism, before Buddhism, was this mantra. This is not a Buddhist mantra, not a Hindu mantra. These were masters in India this was an oral transmission, and it got written down. And then when there were masters in India that continued it on, and then Lama Surya put it in this book. So think about this. This is from way back. There was a way with the breath to be connected to your divine source, God, the pure light presence that's here and now, and keep your form purified. Keep this whole thing as a vessel, a channel, a portal that's pure, where you just see, just hear, just think, without this labeling, naming, and judging, writing paragraphs about, stuff. You're letting things come and go. But anyway, I want to read this because when I checked the Course of Miracles, look what I found. Jesus says, there's a little breath of eternity that runs through time like golden light. Now, what is a better description of what this breath is? This breath is a little breath of eternity that runs through time. So you're sitting here in your chair during the day, you're sitting in your chair, or you're walking around, you can stop and go to the in breath. That is a breath of eternity running through time. Right then, it's golden light. And Jesus asked you, that's in chapter 20, section 5, Paragraph 5. He asks you to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. That's in workbook 182. Now that kind of blew me away. Look at this. He asks you to breathe again the holy air. Well, where the hell are you going to get that holy air? Where are you going to get it? Well, you're going to take on the in-breath, you're going to visualize that light, that great ray. That light is holy air, holy light. Then you breathe it in. You're breathing it in and you're exhaling it out. And one of these other things is you could when you exhale it out, it goes out all these chakras. It mainly the heart and the forehead and the throat and the heart chakra, but it's going out everywhere because you're a light being. I mean, we're light beings. But look at that. You to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. Your form, my form, it is the holy house, the vessel, the channel, the portal. That's an image granted in the illusion. But as we integrate absolute, which is heaven, nirvana, with the relative, which is the physical plane, we're seeing that these forms in the Garden of Eden before the pre-separation state, they were animated and were awake and aware. They were completely animated by this light, giving off this light. Oh man, here's another one where he says this. Oh, that was workbook 182. The body can become a sign of life and a breath of immortality. Now that also blew me away, because when I was studying the course, ego had me concentrate on things that the body was a symbol of the ego. And I never got to the part that mind, body, and spirit are, in balance. And the body means nothing, is meaningless, it's neutral, it's meaningless, but it becomes holy as the mind awakens and we inflate it. We knowingly know it's inflated by this holy light of God. Then we embody with all our six senses are open and we embody this God light. And we're not excluding the body. It becomes even more lovely. It becomes lovely. We're no longer labeling as a symbol of the ego. That's only if we don't understand this whole picture of absolute combined with relative in the actual Garden of Eden, where Jesus says the two states are no longer going separate. I never understood any of this. Again, granted, this is my perception now. But then let's see, page 5. This is I want to read what this is called HumSo or HamSa is. Oh, I want to repeat this. The HamSa meditation helps connect with the divine love and profound energy that flows through the universe and through each of us. So what I'm talking about here is not just what's flowing through you. This, when you get in this rhythm of this in-breath and this out-breath, that is the flow in this whole universe. Because God light is animating all these forms, but we've just been asleep to it. Then I want to read here some more that was it. The in-breath and the out-breath become fused in the cosmic energy flow, energizing your spiritual nature. So what's happening? You're energizing your spiritual nature. You're awakening and becoming aware of this. And this circle of the in-breath and the out-breath, connecting with this light, is a circle of wholeness and completeness. This is what results. It results in a continuous, unbroken circle of wholeness and completeness in the body now. It's just so beautiful. Oh, and so this mantra is called I am that. I am that. Now, in my email, I wrote that a few teachings back, remember I was talking with you about how I could now more able to rest in the clear light of God's presence. And in that presence, and I'm just resting there, laying there in this light, and it pulsates because I didn't know it then, but it's following the in-breath and the out-breath, but it's following the great ray. The great ray comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. It follows the in-breath and the out-breath. But I would say to you, well, I'm laying there in God's presence, that light energy, and I don't know what to say I am anymore. What am I? I'm not a self-concept anymore. I'm not a self. But yet in this light that's pulsating, there's no separate little spirits. There's no little separate spirits or Christ or Buddhists. There really isn't. There's this continuous, complete, whole light, L-I-G-H-T, of God presence. And that's when I just said, then there's just isness. There's just God presence. But this explains it, where it says, I am that. You each are that. This clear light, this light that's coming and going, I am that. And it's not, it just again is. But isn't that beautiful? I am that. I just thought, oh, that just really that made my day too. Now let's see, there's so much here. Oh, now, when I read in the Course in Miracles about lesson 182, man, I went right to it in the Course in Miracles book. And by golly, I read that whole lesson several times, reading and carrying on and asking Holy Spirit to help me. And guess what that lesson says? It's talking about this same awareness of this child that it knows it's not home, but it wants to go home. And that section in that book talks about this, talks about what the hell happened in that Garden of Eden when it seems like Adam and Eve got shoved out. Well, guess what happens when it's shoved out, pushed out, ego believes. Picture, this came to me recently, in birth. When the mother gives birth to a child, guess what? That child is pushed out that birth canal. Now, that has to be a traumatic deal. Pushed out of the womb of mother. And you can metaphor it to mother creation. In that womb, everything's handy dandy, floating in that beautiful liquid, I'm sure connected with the light and love of God, but it wham, pushed out. Well, guess what that does? As far as I'm understanding now, it goes into your unconscious mind. It reinforces we've been pushed out of the Garden of Eden, that God rejected us. And when ego sits with that, we got rejected for a good damn reason, I bet. We did something wrong. And then ego's like, blah, blah, blah. So this is an unconscious fear that we've been ejected or pushed out of the Garden of Eden that gets exemplified by the actual birth process. And then picture in life, when we're younger and you fall in love with somebody and it doesn't work out and you break your heart and then you go on, and then, or a family member dies and you have a loss. Guess what? And I really understand it. I'm starting to understand this. That loss builds on this unconscious loss, this separate loss. We feel that we're separate and lost from God, our home. We've been ejected. So that's why then this loss or impermanence and change in the physical world becomes so difficult for us. Because in Lama Surya's book, there's a sentence in biology called, and I can't even say the sentence very well. Let's see if I can find where it is. Ontogeny, recapitulating, P-H-Y-L-O-G-E-N-Y. And what that means is that an individual event often recapitulates the larger event that happened before in that species. And that's what I'm talking about. So we had this huge disaster of the separation, we feel thrown out of the Garden of Eden, that in the samsara or hellish world, the Buddha said one of the main truths is impermanence, loss, suffering. That's what happens, because underneath in lesson 182, we're not home. We don't feel like we're home, but we can go with that breath and go back home. But here's what Jesus says. The world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind, you know that's not true. A memory of home keeps haunting you. And if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of, yet still you feel an alien here from somewhere all unknown. Now, a lot of this is unconscious. No one but knows whereof we speak. Yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. See, that's the misery and the sadness of the separation, the incompleteness we feel. But see this breathing in and then in breath, out breath, you start to feel this completeness, this wholeness. Back home, you can have some respite, some rest. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. This just brings you to tears. He does not understand he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal and with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. Now we're talking about taking this in-breath in and that out-breath. Where you walk then is holy ground. That we're integrating the relative world with the holy God presence world that you live in now but are unaware of. But that's the holy ground where you walk because you're a holy child, a holy God. You just haven't remembered it yet. But there's a child in you who seeks his father's house. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above. Whoa, listen to that. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to that light that's above and bringing it into the earth realm. Oh, I mean, this just blew me away. Jesus is talking about here. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. That's this mantra, folks. Woohoo! I'm telling you, this is fantastic because that gives you the taste. Then you go back and get another taste and you're resting in it. Here's how he explains it. It is this child who knows his father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly. His voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. See, that's the little baby Christ, that voice that you hear, that voice. Oh, go read the course, or go read that the email Glenda sent, or let's go watch this video that Glenda did, or somebody else. He doesn't ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. Wow. Oh, I love this. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself. So when you take a time and you sit there and you practice this mantra, you're giving the baby Jesus what the hell he's asking for. Some time to rest and be back home. Let's see, where's it? This is a baby Jesus. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you, for he would bring you back with him, that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong. But here they said it. I'm going to get back to this. Instance of respite, just an eternal interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his house. In that instant, he will take you, when you go there and sit there in that in-breath and out-breath, and sit in that light, and think about that light. In that instant, he, meaning Jesus Christ, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silence and peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. Rest with him frequently today. So how many times can you take a breath in and exhale? 21,600 times in a 24-hour period, if you wanted to. Now, don't let somebody tell you, you haven't found the way home. We go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he is. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go home today. Completed and complete. Let him go home today with you. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he said, ask unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. So you are the creator of all this, but yet he's beseeching you that you're his father. Come on, let's go home. Bring me home. The Holy Child reminds with you, be still an instant and go home with him and be at peace a while. When I read that, I went, whoa. That's this mantra. Now, let's see, I made a bunch of notes here where I circled things, because if you can't tell, I don't take this stuff lightly. I'm trying to really help. I'm going to read here some about this section. Oh, I'm just going to read you what I wrote when I was feeling this. It's called a white swan meditation, white swan. And it's the white swan because, let's see if that's where that is. Like a swan is a bird, that's at the end of this. White swan. I'm on page 1, 4. There's a delightful description of this white swan. Maybe I'll run on it. But here's what I wrote. On the in-breath, I silently said H-A-M, hum or whom, to myself. And on my out-breath, I said, so, HumSo, HumSo, HumSo. Over and over, I said HumSo. And I thought about on the in-breath, hum, that I was breathing in the breath of life, light from the top of my head, from Mother Creator, and on the out breath, sa or so, I was releasing all unconscious egoic obscurations. I was letting go of all human thoughts and feelings without even having to know what they were. Over and over, I thought about on each in-breath and each moment, I was renewing myself with our higher God nature, light and prana, meaning energy, God energy. And with each out breath, I was letting go, thinking I was a person or a self. Because see, this breathing in with this light, this great ray light, you are renewing yourself. It's like a rebirth each moment. I'm not kidding, because when you think of that light, that's rebirth. It's huge. You're renewing your holy self. It's just so many, there's so many levels to this mantra. I felt such a peace and evenness, and I felt the Mother Creator light prana spiraling. Now, what happens ultimately is this light energy, it comes down and it spirals around you. In the middle of you, there's a central channel of light, a central channel of energy, light. But this great ray, it's spiraling around that. And and that light and that breath is spiraling in, and then it goes down all the way to the Kundalini. It can even go down to the ground by your feet. It depends on how far you want to take this, because see, it's your whole form that's being enveloped in this prana, this light energy, this God energy that you are. Okay, but anyway, then all of a sudden it came to me what was happening in this HamSa mantra. The in-breath, hum, was nourishing. Nourishing is another word. Nourishing, just sustaining you, having you feel complete and whole, loved. And it's animating. It's also invigorating. It was invigorating Glenda's form with holy light prana, while the essay sa or so out breath was releasing all thoughts of a separate self. This hum holy sound on the in-breath, followed automatically by the so holy sound on the out-breath, produced a harmonious, continuous rhythm within me, which automatically kept Glenda's mind, body, and spirit in balance in its natural divine state, whole, pure, and innocent. That's what that means, all in balance, not out of balance. I felt and saw how the HumSo mantra is all-inclusive. It injects holy light while releasing karma, if that is what we think about while we practice it. The hum sound was injecting holy light, and the sa or so sound was removing any negative egoic thoughts, resulting in everything was in harmony. The absolute, which means God in heaven, and the relative world, which means earth, were and are in harmony. Form and emptiness were and are in harmony in this natural, this is a complete circle. This you'll find is a complete circle of life. This in-breath, out-breath just results in a continuous, unbroken circle of wholeness and completeness being felt, and results in a way for a person to remain filled with light and let unconscious egoic thoughts and feelings go at the same time. I mean, it's just beautiful. Then here's a quote from that book. The HamSa meditation helps us connect with the divine love and profound energy that flows through the universe and through each of us. Make the rounds until the in-breath and the out-breath and the hum and the so are all but inseparable. It becomes one constant motion, as if the mantra were written in a circular rather than a linear fashion, so that it becomes so hum, so hum, so hum, so hum, so hum, so hum. Eventually, you can't really tell if hum or so comes first or second, just as the in-breath and the out-breath become fused in the cosmic energy flow, energizing your spiritual nature. I mean, really. So all this is done within the nostrils with the mouth closed. The mantra itself is deceptively simple. Oh, wait, I'm going to read back about its history. This is a quote from the book. Long before Hinduism and Buddhism, the wise masters of India practiced and transmitted powerful mantras, of which the HumSo meditation is said to be foremost. Now I want to repeat that. Picture of all those holy scriptures 5,000 years ago, because this is written down evidently. This meditation is foremost in what they practiced. This timeless wisdom mantra belongs to the ancient Vedic spiritual tradition. The Vedas, Vedas, are the oldest of man's scriptures, ancient holy texts passed down through the generations. Although it's not a Buddhist meditation, it belongs to the Indian yoga tradition that the Buddha himself practiced during the 6 years of austerity in the wilderness that led up to his enlightenment. I think, therefore, it's probably safe to surmise that the Buddha himself used this mantra at some point in his practice. The mantra itself is deceptively simple. All we need to do is breathe in and out through the nostrils. As we do this, we repeat to ourselves, meaning silently, the syllable hum, H-A-M, or hum, H-U-M, on the in-breath, and on the syllable so on the out-breath. So simple, so natural, so freeing. The syllable H-A-M represents and embodies the expansive masculine yang energy. The symbol so represents the centrifugal yin feminine energy. Now, I used to think that was a bunch of fuddy-duddy stuff too. But here's the thing, in the separation, for me, when this separation happened in duality, subject-object duality, it broke apart two forces, yin and yang, masculine and feminine, and they've been fighting each other. Two opposing forces. And with the Course in Miracles and Dzogchen, mantras, meditation, you're bringing those forces back together in union. So there's way more going on here than any of us are aware of. Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, and the enlightened beings are working within our hearts and minds and all our spirits to help get back into this union of this body, mind, spirit union, where we're a vessel, channel, portal. We're like a Muppet, a big balloon that's just inflated in and out. This image is inflated with an in-breath and an out-breath. That's this light energy. But anyway, oh, here it is about the swan. HAMSA means white swan. The swan, of course, is an ancient symbol of spiritual grace and purity. The mantra is called white swan because when the in-breath and the out-breath are freed and purified, now listen to what that said, when the in-breath and the out-breath are freed and purified, they are like the wings of a swan, helping our spirits to soar. The HamSa mantra helps us find the grace within and carries us beyond our limited concepts. It helps us shed negative feelings that we're ugly ducklings, reminds us that we're all graceful and pure swans. It can help our spiritual lives take wing. Ancient teachings say this mantra is a vibration of infinite consciousness. We're not talking about separation here. We're talking about being awake and alert and conscious to what we're doing while we're doing it, not unconscious zombies, uniting each of us with the divine source. It is said that this mantra helps erase duality and the sense that we are different or separate from each other. We cannot find enlightenment we seek until we realize that we're all one. There is no other. The HamSa meditation helps us connect with the divine love and profound energy that flows through the universe and through each of us. Let's see what else I might want to say. You can use the mantra to bring down the blessings from above, evoking it from the divinity within. We do this breathing in and saying Hum as we visualize light streaming down from the infinite higher power source. See, he didn't call it the Great Ray. It's a cord of light. That's what this is. We visualize the light streaming down from the infinite higher power source above the head. Watch it travel through the crown aperture and instantly descending down the central energy channel into one's heart chakra, making it blaze brightly with light and higher consciousness. Then on the soul, as we exhale, we visualize all that love and light radiating out from the heart chakra. We do this again and again, HumSo, 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 with light and consciousness coursing through and purifying everything. This helps the whole universe, all sentient beings. See, that's what's so beautiful about this. This work you're doing on yourself isn't just helping you, it's helping all sentient beings, seen and unseen, human and otherwise, wake up from the thought they've ever been incomplete, apart, or separate from God and each other. Indian Vendetta, Vedanta, masters teach that the HamSa mantra is all pervasive and dwells within all beings and all forms like the ultimate self-nature of the universe. Now, when I think about that, as I read that, it makes sense. So all these bugs and insects and animals, they're breathing. They got to breathe in and out or they wouldn't be alive. Well, that light's being carried on that in and out breath that's there, but they're just not aware of it. So anyway, let's see. Now, that's kind of so it's a workbook lesson 182. And in my email is, I quote this entire section in this Letting Go of the Person You Used to Be book. And picture, I've read that book a couple of times, but see, until a person's ready and for whatever the teaching is, it just blows on by. So it's really a big deal that you all are here present to hear this and, do with it what you may. And that's in my email as well. Here's what Jesus says as I wrote this. He said, and that is T-17. I want to read this whole paragraph. Here's his old paragraph. It's chapter 17, section 3, paragraph 9. It is still up to you to choose to join with truth or with illusion. But remember that to choose one is to let the other go. So picture, it's up to you whether to choose to practice this or not. But look what he says. In practicing, you're either practicing truth, and you're letting go of the ego. So this mantra allows you to bring the God light in and to let go of egoic thoughts and projections all in one thing. I thought that's so cool. But it's your choice whether you want to let go of ego. Your choice whether you want to bring in this light and learn to rest in this light. Which one you choose will endow with beauty and reality because the choice depends on which you value more, the spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness, the real world or the world of guilt and fear, truth or illusion, freedom or slavery. It's all the same. For you can never choose except between God and the ego. Don't you love that? That's why in that email I wrote, I cleave to God and the truth. That means God's my companion. I am that. He says here, Jesus says here, for you can never choose except between God and the ego. Thought systems are but true or false, and all their attributes come simply from what they are. Only the thoughts of God are true. and all that follows from them comes from what they are, and is as true as is the holy source from which they came. And that holy source is this source of light, clear light, love, and love that's here now, that you can access and allow to inject and invigorate your form as you let go of ego. So before I close, has anyone got a thought that they want to share? And of course, before we go, you look at each tile or however you want to do it and think of these people as God. Because as you think of these people, that's how you think of yourself. God Barbie, God Joan, God Terry had to leave, God Angela, God Edward, God Gonzalo, God Susan, God Debbie, God Corrine, God Glenda, and all those that are watching this video later, all sentient beings, seen and unseen, human and otherwise. Oh, I want to say a well wishes to them. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy, which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. So be it. Any thoughts or concept things? There's Gonzalo is unmuted. And Gonzalo, thanks for emailing me, Gonzalo. Talk about the light that you had that meaning or something, and then this came up, which is my subject tonight, or something like that.
Yeah, it was perfect because last night I was just moved to go to the same group that I started going to many years ago. And the same teacher, I call her master teacher guru. So she's still giving the course, and it was good to reset because she emphasized how difficult it is that we say to let go of our egoic attachment, our bodily identity, this limited self as a body. No, I can't be unlimited. Come on, sounds good. Sounds like some nice metaphysical junk, but come on. But we got reality we got to deal with. And she was saying that we've trained ourselves in this world so thoroughly to be limited that even the idea that we're an unlimited light of God, even that sounds like bullshit because we told ourselves over and over for eons, no, we're just bodies who have to hope and pray we get to heaven someday. We've ingrained this belief in limitation and guilt so deeply that we make it hard when we even attempt to practice. We make it, oh man, this is really hard to, yeah, it's because we convinced ourselves of that, It's almost like saying, man, it's hard to get in shape, but we never take our asses to the gym or exercise. But we keep complaining, it's really hard to get, it's really hard to eat right, but my fridge is full of shit and I never go exercise, right? This is kind of the same thinking. So she emphasized, we have to train our minds to say, you know what, I'm going to practice making it easier. And I really appreciate all the light meditations you talked about, because since COVID, it's accelerated. Obviously, we had a great energetic opening during COVID when a lot of people who were already working on their awakenings were able to speed up because the energy was opening up, and if people were not working on that themselves, then they were pushed backwards, it seemed. So during that time, when I started attending your group 4 years ago, I just say, again, it sounded really weird what you were talking about, like, I had lights streaming out everywhere. I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. I was like very reluctantly, but I said, I had all this time on my hands because of COVID. So I was like, what the hell? Let's just give it a shot. And I'll be damned. I can only tell with my experience how the use of our imaginations, which are so extremely potent, when we use them properly as opposed to being enslaved by them, how it accelerates our awakening. Like the jump from the way I practiced before, as you said, very militant, course only, give me only course, anything else, get away from me. I just want course, course, very militant. And so you close your mind off to things that could push us along, right? And course, is wonderful. That's our chosen tool for awakening. But yet, there's, I think, misinterpretations we make as humans um, about it means to be, what it means to be beyond the body, right? So we kind of discard the body maybe and not really use the body really keenly as that communication device, which Jesus says is a communication device. Well, we need to really tune it. We need to fine tune that communication device. And that involves not ignoring the bodily condition, which again, very easy to fall into that misinterpretation. So I feel just again, using the light meditations which you offer through the Buddhism and our imaginations to uh, ingrain that really has helped accelerate me beyond measure. And I encourage everybody to get past that voice of saying, come on, really? Come on, really? Nah, come on, please. Is a kind of the limiting voice, which doesn't even want us to practice, because the more it delays us and the more it can get us into that doubt talk and that limitation talk, then the longer we stay asleep. That's its job, to keep us delayed and distracted into coming up with reasons why it has to be so hard. And yeah, we don't deny our difficulties, but we use them. Let's just practice making it easier. So yeah, I'm absolutely convinced of the truth that you speak of and the course speaks of, because it's an experience now. It's a feeling that I can't put into words, but I can tell you the proper use of our imaginations that God gave us will accelerate us beyond means. I was thinking about my next talk at the church, and I was thinking what I would say. Funny thing came to mind. Like, if I was speaking to people, I'd say, okay, this is how powerful our imaginations is and how we've trained it unknowingly. I said, if I told people to close their eyes and think about the wildest sexual fantasy they would ever want to think of, bam, it would appear within like a half a nanosecond, because we've been training ourselves to fantasize our whole lives. But then turn the page and you say, okay, close your eyes and imagine you're the perfect light of God just streaming in and out. There's resistance there, because like that unlimitedness, there's resistance there, and we train ourselves to be limited. So we kind of pause with the whole idea of being unlimited, but yet you give us the sexual fantasies to squeeze us in these bodies. We've got that down pat. Yet A+, I'm an honor roll student when it comes to, fantasizing. So it's just, it was just, that's what I thought of when you were speaking. Yeah.
Use the mind differently for awakening about this mantra. Now, Gonzalo, thank you so much, because it's really genuine of you to say, oh yeah, right. When I was talking about light meditation, when you started with the group several years ago. But as you talk, what came up is, I forgot to share, it's called faking it while you make it. We don't believe there's a damn great ray above that Jesus talked about in the course that animates the form, but just reason will tell you there's a breath, but there's more to it than just the breath. There's this energy, this prana, it's clear light. That's the Course in Miracles that are taking you beyond this physical breath, because to inflate the form, it needed a breath, but then this energy. But when I was back about trying to open these chakras, somehow I got the great ray to open with that meditation that Jesus has in the course, but that's just one part of it. All these chakras are lined up, and there's a circle, this circle. I would picture the great ray, the light coming above, but I would be having to pull. Tonight I explained you pull it. You're pulling it with the breath. I didn't know enough to pull it with the breath. I would just pull in light straight down, like behind the spine, in front of the spine, but the chakras are lined up in the middle. I pull the light behind the chakras. I'd get down to the kundalini. Then I'd have to push. I'd have to push the light up, because the kundalini is supposed to force light up, and it will as it opens, but that wasn't completely open. So I'd push the light, but I would be able, it's called diamond vision. I got so I could bring that light, circle it. I could circle that light, and see that helped open the chakras. But what I'm talking about tonight is something that will speed up your ability to see a circle of an in-breath and an out-breath, and to bring that great ray light in on the in-breath. Because it's just an easier thing to think of, because you feel on the in-breath, you're sucking in air. So you suck in light with it, and then you bring that light down to wherever, whatever chakra you want to bring it to. And then you just circle it and bring it back. And then on the exhale, you're bringing it back up and letting go. And you're thinking about letting go of ego. Because what Gonzalo said, we're real good at, we've been taught in this lifetime and however many other, if you believe in other lifetimes, we got it down pat about being a physical body in the form, and can fantasize and think up stuff that are just wow. But to think that you're a light being, well, Course in Miracles is teaching you that, but yet we don't believe it. And I'm trying to give you some practices, because honest, I've been trying to think about how can I help them open up the great ray? And here it is. Thanks, Gonzalo. You got anything else before Angela?
No, thank you so much. Thank you. It's wonderful, wonderful reminders. Thank you. So it's right in line with what I was what I was feeling yesterday before I read your email. So it's perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're the same wavelength. Yeah. Yeah. How well, Holy Spirit's always in the background, and the Christ child is in the background, and like lesson 182 says, always calling you home, always wanting you to take a rest in this clear light, in this breath. What do you call it? Let's see, what do you call it? In your holiness lights of heaven and brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above. That breath, where was that breath part? In which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. How do you breathe again the holy air that fills your body is the Father's house? Is to breathe in that light through the top of the head. But anyway, oh man, like what? That is great. Okay, Angela, you can unmute yourself. We're still being recorded.
Hi, Brenda. Glenda. Thank
I
you
can
so
hear you.
much for tonight. You have such a in-depth, and the breath and meditation, you bring it to a higher level. And I just love how you are sharing, this one particular exercise that it's easy enough. And so I really want to thank you for that. And it's so I guess there's always synchronicity that I find that shows up in my life. And just so you know, like I went to the chiropractor today, and I'm just so pleased because he wanted to let me know, to work on my breath. And it's just, and then we're talking about this tonight. And so pleasing that the alternative medicine, that they are recognizing more and more today how important the breath is. It's for free. We don't have, and they put it in their practice, and so little disciplined we are sometimes, and how important it really will do. So, and I recognize too, when I had been hospitalized, they tell me, breathe. And so it's so great, and I just want to share that it's so nice to see more and more. And the more that it's talked about, people understand the importance of the breath.
Angela, I forgot. Oh, that's so beautiful. Angela, I forgot. I didn't used to breathe properly. I'm still learning how to breathe. Is typically ego wants a constricted body and shallow breathing. But I've had to learn, I have to visualize taking my breath, an in-breath from 2 inches below my navel. That's where I suck in take in air, but then I'll get synchronized. Now it's natural that I take the breath in from 2 inches below, because that's a deep breath. And taking my time to actually breathe that, take that breath in, But as the person does it, then you can also visualize that you're taking that breath in of that light. And then at some point you can get to the top of your head, bringing the light in there. That light's everywhere. So we don't have to always think about it as the top of the head. It's everywhere. But well put. It's not shallow breathing. This is a deep breath below 2 inches below the navel in. And then when the out breath is a relaxing. Remember, I don't use say just relax. Well, here you're doing sa saw or so, so, so. And that so is letting that light go out slowly. And that's when you're picturing, you're letting egoic projections, obscurations. And we can even, Gary Renard in his Disappearance of the Universe talks about these egoic unconscious mind is as deep as an iceberg. Icebergs are miles deep. We've got layers of all these automatic judgments we make about each other and the world. And this is a way these things are being let go in that so it's silent, and you're silently doing it, but I just said that. And you carry that so out. And you do your own rhythm. It doesn't have to be go slow, excuse me. And then you'll do a pace. Sometimes it's HumSo, 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 HumSo. You're not even thinking about in breath, out breath. Then you're just getting used to this. It's a seed syllable. These are, and I would have thought this was fooey as well. But these 5,000 years ago, and then Tibetans, Buddhist and Hindu, there are these syllables that vibrate in and touch these chakras, touch your heart. We've shut down our heart. Oh, the heart is an actual, people, I would exclude the body from in my learning, but now I realize the body embodies this light and all these virtues and love, etc. But the heart is the fleshy heart is the actual center of awareness or this divine love. I'm not kidding. It really is it's you picture it's for flesh. The flesh is stored all these lifetimes of hurt, broken hearts, loss, impermanence. Us, and the bottom line, big loss is that we're not in the Garden of Eden. So it's piling all this up in your heart. So you're picturing in that you reread my email that Lama Sri Das talks about on that out breath, that so goes out the heart. Let that light go out your heart, radiate out of your heart, because you're letting go of this heartbreak that's unconscious. Picture just 40, 50 years of this. We deny funerals and sometimes, or how heartbroken we are about stuff, But anyway, that's just part of ego. We want to let go and free up your heart. And that's a divine, and then you feel more love and compassion and empathy for your brothers and yourself. Oh, this is such a beautiful practice. Way to go, Angela. He talked about breath work, huh? Learn how to breathe. Oh, man. Thank you. Gonzalo, need to go. Thank you. Anybody else want to share something before I stop the recording? Oh, my. Sorry, I get excited about this. Oh, my. To open all this up. A way for you to help you open your great ray, open your heart, also open your mind. This all just so huge, opening to this light energy, this breath, God presence. A practical way to do it. And somebody counted 24-hour day, you got 21,600 chances. I wake up in the night in bed and I'll go, home, in my mind, HumSo. Okay, nobody's got any thoughts or anything. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. And sorry this went a little long. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.